Hey, Pastor Steve Waldron, I hope you're having an incredible day or night in Jesus. Thank you so much for being with us. We're at the Babylonian captivity of the church. At least that's what it's known as in the 1300s. Let's get started taking a journey through church history, and we're following this trail of blood, the history of the true church, in between the institutionalized church and other things going on in our world. We're using the Apostolic History Outline by Marvin Arnold. Check out our other videos on this subject and many other subjects. So God bless. Again, let's get started. Oh, hit the bell notification, subscribe if you can. So the Babylonian captivity of the church was from 1309 to 1378. I found it so interesting, read about it over the years. The French government under Bertrand de Got found the papacy so corrupt, deceitful, and treacherous that it ignored the bulls. The bulls, this would be the decrees that would come with the papal seal on there. Clericus Lacos and Una Sanctum, and closed the Vatican by force. Now, there would be a lot of arguing back and forth on whether the Vatican was really that bad, and he had ulterior motives and all this. The papacy was forcibly removed from lawless Rome to Avignon, France. Actually, the popes were locked up in a palace penitentiary, and this is according to Bernstein and Green, page 238, Langer 286, and Kuiper 135. France's minister, Nogre, threatened the evil Pope Boniface with capital punishment. And then AD 1307, 1309, the Templar Knights were papal bankers. A lot of people think they still are in a certain sense. The progeny, you have all Dan Brown and all these Knights Templar. They had some strange practices for sure. And like Ivanhoe, Sir Walter Scott goes into them somewhat in all of this. But yeah, I had some really strange practices. France's minister, Nogarat, we talked about that. The Templar order was abolished. The Hospitaller took its place. AD 1328, 1330, John Wycliffe was born at Wycliffe-on-Tees. He was a professor at the University of Oxford. In 1381 to 1383, worked intensely with aides to translate the English Bible. He preached against the countless atrocities of the Vatican. He stated that the Bible alone, without tradition, was the sole rule of faith. So he had a couple translations of the Bible, probably from the Vulgate or Vulgate and Old Latin. I know I had an original copy. No, these are all handwritten, so it's shocking to me that there were still, 200, 300, 400 available. Does it take 10 months to write one? It had like the epistle to the Colossians and Laodiceans, that's mentioned in the epistle to the Colossians, epistle of Laodiceans, and it's supposed to have the epistle to the Colossians. And pretty fascinating. It also did the old, you draw a finger where you're wanting to emphasize in like John 3:5, be born again of water and spirit, have a little finger in there. So it's like a 1 of 700 reproduction. I think it got stolen when we had some folks help us move. That wasn't good. So in AD 1415, the Council of Constance condemned Wycliffe. In 1428, Wycliffe's bones were burned by papal command, and he was known as the Morning Star of the Reformation, but you still had Lollards everywhere. You had John of Gaunt standing up about 1395 in Parliament saying Jesus is God. So you had a lot of people that even in that time were not Catholic per se. And it would have been ebbed and flowed depending on where you were at in England and where you were at all across Europe. And then, of course, you still had Chinese Christianity, Nestorian Christianity, on and on. In 1378, the popes released and returned to Rome from Avignon. Catherine had used bribery to obtain the release. There was immediate anti-Semitism. Also, 1378 saw the Great Schism. Papal scandals erupted. Now, even before this, you had the, not Quartodeciman, but the Philiki break with the East as well. The Black Death swept Europe 1347, 1353. Pandemic plagues of cholera and diphtheria brought death to millions of Europeans. Some governments and populations failed. Crusaders had spread syphilis, gonorrhea, and other communicable diseases. See H. Styler, Plague Fighters, page 33. I don't think that was the sole cause, though. In AD 1391, Jews massacred in Spain, Europe. 1391 on March 15th, Bishop Ferran Martinez started the anti-Jewish riot in Spain. It led to Great Spanish Inquisition. 50,000 Jews and Moors, Muslims in Spain, were burned in auto de fe, and 800,000 more victimized. See Cecil Roth, pages 14 and 25. AD 1392, Moors were Muslims forced into Catholicism. Marranos were Jews of Spain forced into that belief. The word Marrano in Spanish means swine. Calling American police officers pigs came from this source. So, again, there's all kinds of perspectives on this. You know, some Catholic apologists would say, well, the Jews were doing certain things against Christians, and it just goes backward. It's just, till we get to heaven, there's going to be horrible things. You got Satan, you got sinful human beings, it's bad. AD 1300, 1350, there were many Albigensian organizations by historians starting to be referred to as Anabaptist. They were baptizing adult believers, rebaptizing people. Before or during the Tolosan Inquisition, many thousands of apostolics fled from Languedoc into Moravia of Czechoslovakia. The apostolic headquarters at Toulouse had been destroyed. Apostolic oneness, as well as organizations of anti-Trinitarian, anti-Paedo-Baptist people, became amplified in Poland and Lithuania and rejected the Trinity. This comes from Denver Standard's convert George Hunston Williams, page 669, Dean of Theology. Harvard convert, he got the Holy Ghost, didn't he? The One God people made some bishops admit that in the beginning there was only one God. Oldenburg 263. By 1565, in Moravia, there was enough apostolic Pentecostal oneness to form an international federation of apostolic churches. That's George Hunston Williams, page 670. AD 1300 to 1414, Gothic Bibles had been used. English Bibles were used early 15th century. Catholics burned all the Bibles they could, according to Lorraine Boatner, page 89. Now, I know I have a lot of Catholic interaction here on the channel. Their thing is that we never outlawed the Bible. Well, the thing is you would have to go through priests and bishops, kind of be wealthy to obtain a copy of the Bible. And sometimes even then it would be in the vernacular, it would just be in the Vulgate. But just for the widespread use of the Bible, yeah, I mean, it was outlawed. And this is Tyndale in that whole thing. So again, some of it depends on the lens you're looking at through. It wasn't outlawed. We let people have Bibles to know you didn't, you know, and I would go more, the evidence is overwhelmingly they did not, for the most part. So God bless. Thanks for being here. Join us daily. Share with your friends, family, church family. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.